Couple of contracts that are now being brought to our attention. We've got Konate, but we can also add Diaz. Konate and Diaz situation. Just wanted to get your thought and let us know in the chat what you guys think. There's look at that, bang on cue. Mo says Luis Diaz is Al Nasser's top target and offer between 85 million and 100 million euros could get it done.
I think that's old news, by the way. That's
by the
June.
way, by the
That's
way,
June, so it's
by the
not
way, it's not could. If we were to get that kind of figures for Luis Diaz, it would 100% be done. But the problem, Gags, and this is we start off with Diaz and we'll go on to Konate. The problem with this, that is today's news, by the way. Mo confirms it is. Ben tweeted it.
Are you sure? Everybody I've been asking around, no one's seen it.
No. Ben spoke about that on a show today. Shout out to Ben. Ben's been on the ball, on the button.
Very good.
News this season. Good friend of mine. But what I was going to say is, Luis Diaz, I think the issue and the dilemma he has now, and I think he's in a very awkward and sticky position. I don't know what you think, guys. Let us know in the chat what you guys think. Me and Gags will give our opinion. I don't think he wants to go Saudi. And I think Saudi, the only club that can afford the price that we want for him. I think he had his absolute eyes, head, brain, body, limbs ready for Barcelona. But Barcelona, it seems, reports suggest, reliable Barcelona journalists suggest they're going for Nico Williams. What do we do with Lucho now? What's the situation? How do we deal with this?
So, there's two things, obviously. I mean, I'm going to say the obvious. One is he stays, right? But then if he stays, it means Darwin and Jota got to go. And Diaz becomes the backup striker for whoever the striker is that comes in, right? But then can still cover them. And then we can maybe get another left winger then instead of Jota, right? So Diaz becomes that striker like last season. We won the league in that way. I don't think it's going to be the best option, but or he has to decide that he goes to Saudi and take. Remember, he's 28 and he has 2 years left, right? Okay, and he's on 60k a week. He is desperate to get his value in his peak. And if he rots for 2 years and goes for free, that's 2 years wasted of where he could have made some decent coin. So he's got a big decision to make, this summer, whether he wants to go and jump to. I know there's some Bayern links out there for him as well, but I just don't see Bayern spending that much money on Diaz or Gakpo, if I'm honest. But I think Saudi is the only option, and if he wants to make money, he'll get 200 grand there easy.
Oh no, the money's not a problem. This is what I'm trying to say. He is in an awkward position. I don't think we're forcing him. Okay.
No.
I
think the news came out today. We're not willing to give him a new contract, and that's what's forcing him to leave. Then, because if he's not getting a pay rise,
this is my point. This is why I stopped in my tracks, Gags. I do think not forcing him out, but we're trying to say you can go.
Yeah, go. Please go. We need the money to buy another winger or a forward, and we would rather you go. So and plus you need the money, as in you want to get your worth. We're not going to pay you more than 60k. If you want to stay till next season, you're still only going to get 60k. We're not going to. And if you want to waste 2 years of your career and you're 30, you're probably not going to get the same money you're going to get now in your peak. So he is backs against the light. This is Liverpool.
This is my point. He is in a very awkward and tricky situation because he definitely wants to stay in Europe. But like you said, Bayern and Barca are the only teams I think that will pay big bucks for him. Even Bayern, maybe not 45, 50 million maximum, I'd say Bayern could pay. Either of them could pay. Daniel says, I agree, Grizz. Diaz.
Oh, sorry. I'll do it again. Go for it.
Sorry, not often someone agrees with me. Bloody leave it on the screen for more than a second. I agreed. Grizz Diaz would rather stay in Europe, but I do think he'll go purely because he'll finally be paid handsomely. Also, his position in the national team isn't under threat in a World Cup here. Yeah, great points. I change my mind about Diaz, like we said every week. I think, are we being cold-blooded to another level in this case, I think he deserves a pay rise. I think he deserves a new deal. I don't think he's at that
No,
level where we're talking about
no,
Keita, Milner, Henderson, all that era. I don't think he comes in that category.
no. I
You
I
disagree?
agree with Liverpool in terms of this is the time to cash in and move him on. We've had him on this low wage, and we've been very lucky that we got him in. And I think it's about time we just said, you know what, you're 28.
Oh,
We don't want to give
he
we
tries
don't
his
want to give you a
heart out.
4 year.
He's
Yeah, but it's
good.
a
He's
4 year
been
deal.
effective.
He could, you know what he could do for 4 years with us if we gave him 150 grand now. He could just run the 4 years down and then go for a free at 32 and get another big money thing. What's the point? We shouldn't do it. We should really cash in now. And you know what? We want ruthless. We said Klopp should be ruthless. We just said to Klopp that you were too kind to
Well,
players.
this is Nicky's backing up that. He says you chat about being ruthless, and now that we are, you backtrack. No, I don't backtrack. I think I love the ruthlessness, but
You're just being
some
kind
players
to
are
the
key.
player, right? You're just
I'll
trying
tell
to
you
think
why.
of
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. A, he's been one of the better performers, right? And he seems rejuvenated in this new role, or a couple of roles that he could cover, left and center, right?
Mm.
And B, I'm looking around the wide forward market in world football, and people are giving me Rafael Leao. Stop it. Stop it. Stop throwing Rafael Leao in the chat. After Kvaratskhelia, who I would have eyes closed swapped for
Yeah.
Luis Diaz,
Yeah.
there's a Gordon out there. Nico Williams is off to Barcelona. There's a Rodrigo at Madrid now. I know most people
Leon,
love
young
him.
lad.
Who?
The lad at Leon, the young lad.
Malik Fofana again.
I
He's not a
really like
Luis Diaz. I mean, I'm the one who
I
tweeted
really
interest in him months ago.
I
So
really like him. He
I
looks
like him too. I like him too. But we're talking about Champions League and league title aspirations, and he's a project. If you're if you're taking out a certified starter, a certified impact player like Luis Diaz, how many times has Luis Diaz got us out of trouble or put us in the lead? And you're suggesting we replace him with an absolute rookie who's hugely talented.
but remember the striker. So Darwin's not bailed us out too much. He did it a few times this season, but when you replace him and we just say we do get the striker we want in, let's just play a game. Just say Isaac is the one that comes in, right? Or Isaac, how you say his name, is the one that comes in. That's replacing that Diaz kind of game changer thing. And then you can have a project on the left because Gakpo is really the first choice. And then Fofana would be the second choice. So you can have a project in there at the
I
time.
think Fofana, okay, before people say, oh, Fofana, I do think we should bring in Fofana, but I think Fofana should be the project, long-term project for Mohamed Salah as well. I think it'd be amazing on the right as well.
You know when they keep
I'm
saying
not denying.
that versatile young forward,
Yes,
I reckon they're talking
absolutely.
about him, right? Because he can play across. So
Absolutely. So I do agree with Malik Fofana in terms of we should bring him in, but I don't think it should be at the expense of Luis Diaz, because that will mean Gakpo is your wide man you're left with. And I don't know if I'm comfortable with just having Gakpo. I know Malik Fofana will be the other option, left or right, but I still want another season of Diaz and Gakpo as I left. Unless, as I said, unless you bring me in well, Kvaratskhelia is gone, Nico Williams is gone. Unless you bring in a Gordon. I know he splits the opinions of fan bases, not just Liverpool fan bases, but all football fans. But I think he'd be electric at Liverpool.
I like him.
I genuinely think Gordon would be electric. Otherwise, I don't see many. Otherwise, I don't see many forwards. Otherwise, I don't see many forwards that are ready to step in like that. People throwing in Kenan Yildiz and hell no, Gordon. Yeah, he splits. Opinion. You rate Gordon over Leao? That's crazy. Gordon is on 170k. He's not. But and I guarantee you. Yeah. If you rate Leao, then yeah, that's fine. It's opinions, isn't it? I'm not here to bash people's opinions. I'm here to give mine and tell you your opinion stinks. But yeah, Rafael Leao, like talk about underwhelming, huge amounts of talent, just hasn't got the heart and the design, the application to be the player that he could be and should be. And I don't want him to be learning and all that at Liverpool Football Club. We are now a destination of players. When they come, they're at the pinnacle of their career. They have a desire and a hunger, like Frimpong is showing, like Kirkes is showing, like Verts is showing. Liao doesn't come into that category at all. He may be as talented as some of those names, but my God, talent can only take you so far. You need so much more. Ask all his previous coaches that have worked with him, ex-players, pundits, and they'll tell you about Rafael Liao. Don't be blinded by a couple of flicks and tricks and pace down the wing. Subject closed on Rafael Liao.
So from
So what do we
Diaz,
decide on Luis Diaz?
I
You're
would
saying-
I would, if we can get the money and he's willing to go, you take it.
Okay. And the other one,
Konate.
this is massive. This is huge. This is complex. I don't think this is straightforward. Thoughts?
You're gonna hate me. Everyone's gonna hate me. But I explained it like this in Discord. And if
Go
you're
on.
not in Anfield Index Discord, you're welcome to join us, anfieldindex.com/Discord. I explained it in this way, that if you were to sell Ibrahima Konate this summer, it's so difficult to get a CB, a centre back of that stature in this summer. It's going to be tough. I think planning a year of it would be better. And if we do lose him this summer, I think the squad actually is hurt really, really. It's massively hurt, and therefore the difference in him in going could be a league spot, a couple of league spots, could be a couple of rounds in the Champions League. And so if you're going to just get 20-30 million for him with a year left to go, you're probably going to lose that in if you leave him, we're probably going to lose that in the league positions and the round that we go out in the Champions League. We'll probably lose 20 million in that. So the actual gain is nothing. You get nothing. Why not win the league and the Champions League again? Get the next player in as well as a backup CB for Kwanzaa, and actually go and win the whole damn thing. And he can go, and we actually gain that money, gain a couple of trophies, win things. I think people hate too much. I always say this to you. I've said this to you in the past. I said this to everybody about Trent. I would say trophies are greater than hate. And I would want him to stay and go. If he wants to go for free, he can go for free. And he'll get that hate from people that want to hate. But I'd love to take those trophies first. So for me, success comes first before the hate. Success comes first before. And you think about the money, you want the money, we're probably going to lose that money in the spots that we lose in the league, because that's how important he is. We're not going to replace him like for like. We're just not this summer. So it's going to be next year that we do that. So my argument is you're going to lose that money anyway, no matter what, in positions and maybe in trophies as well. Would you not want to keep the trophies? I get your hatred. I think people need to breathe sometimes and think logically a little bit and step out and go, you know what? I'd rather win. Give him another year. Let's win everything again. And then, you know what? Back to back is more important than hating on Konate. Winning 2 league titles in a row is more important than that.
I don't think this is a hatred scenario.
But that's why people want to sell him, because they hated what happened with Trent, and they're going to hate on Konate. It's hate, though.
I think this is different from the Trent scenario. And I think this is, again, I always agree with the process, and I always agree with the decision makers, and I always err on the side of the decision makers. Some people, that's why people call me an FSG spokesperson. How I'm an FSG spokesperson, I don't know. I've never received any monies from FSG. I want to make that very, very clear. I just like the way they run things on the whole. Of course, they have their flaws. I disagree with this one if we don't give him a new contract. I disagree. I think Ibu deserves a pay rise. I think Ibu deserves a new contract. And I think Ibu is just negotiating with them and they're playing hardball. I get it with the Diaz. You explained it with the Diaz scenario and you made sense and people explained it and I accept it. Right?
But
so I'm a fair man.
He gets a chance like Mo and Verge to go and earn a contract like they go on in January.
I think he deserves it now. I think he shouldn't need to be sweating. It could affect. He's not as experienced as Salah and Virgil, and even Trent to a certain extent. He's not as experienced as dealing with contract negotiations and performing at the same time. Virgil and Salah.
We don't know.
But look, it won't be extortionate. It won't be more than Virgil, Mo, and
Oh
Allison
yeah,
and these people, right?
yeah.
So we know that he's on a low wage, just like Luis Diaz. And I think he's one of the world's best centre backs, especially the way we play, especially the way Frimpong's going to continue to play. I think Ibu deserves it. Evo says maybe Ibu doesn't understand that when we boo him, he thinks we don't like him.
Hebrew. Love it. That's a good one.
No, he knows we love him, my friend, but that's a great one. He knows he love him. I'm keep Ibu, not at all costs. Of course, we don't get held to ransom. We're Liverpool Football Club. But look, I think we're going to come to an agreement anyway. And I think this is just play from both sides. But we are very, very hard taskmasters in the negotiation table. Ask Virgil and Salah, who had to wait until the last month or so to actually agree deals. So Ibu, carry on trying it. Ultimately, if Ibu and Diaz are moved on, I'm okay with it. I do trust the process, but I'd rather, at the very least, one of them stays. And that one for me is overwhelmingly Ibu Konate.
Dude, this is hilarious.
I mean, I can't laugh because,
FSG.
like this
Someone
is
called us
slander.
out FSG.
Like these accusations will be
Oh, well,
rife.
hey, John Henry, thank you so much for the $199. If you just put a couple of zeros on the end of that, would have been nice. Maybe
Accusations will be rife amongst social media now that Liverpool FSG do actually pay Grizz Kahn
So
for saying nice and positive things.
people are asking to move to the next topic, and I think we've said it on these two. And the next topic is Mark, the difference maker, Guéhi. The reason why I call him difference maker here,
Okay, interesting. Go on.
it's a bit of a joke and it's funny, is because since he's been linked to us, every opposition fan that I've seen either on YouTube or on Twitter, they go, "Oh my God, that's it! They're going to win the league."
Oh, right.
So whenever they see that we're going to get Marc Guéhi, forget words, and that we're linked to Isaac or whatever. Marc Guéhi was the one where they turned around and went, "That's it! They're going to win the league." So this guy is the difference maker according to the whole opposition fans. That's the one. So I've nicknamed him the difference maker. Mark the difference maker, Guéhi. So I think I'm very excited now about this, just because the opposition fans fear him so much, that I really want this deal to happen. Just because of the fallout from the fans.
I really want this deal to happen. I'm not overly excited with it in terms of the player, but I like the thinking, I like the planning, and I like the fee, and I like the fact that he's another homegrown and experienced English defender. I like all of that, and I also like the fact that he's a leader. Apparently, speaking
Massive.
to a few Palace fans, they are absolutely gutted about this fella leaving in terms of the leadership qualities he brings, and he's a very good centre back. Now, I don't think he's a great centre back. Hopefully, I'm proved wrong and he turns out to be a great centre back, but you don't have to have 11 great players. You have to have professionals. I don't think many people would say Joe Gomez is a great centre back, but Joe Gomez brings you professionalism, behind the scenes, a good egg, so to speak, right? And never lets you down, right? Apart from when he's
That's
injured.
good stuff.
I think Gaye would come in that category where I don't think he'd let us down. Don't know what you view him as.
Whenever I've watched him play, especially against us, he annoys the shit out of me because he does so well. He plays so well, So I think when I've watched him for England as well, he's done well. So, I mean, he seems solid. Seems very, very solid for us. A solid buy. Again, when I talked about right at the start of the show, the strategy behind the signing, the tacticalness of what we're doing in the market. Homegrown, really solid player, really great backup, will actually fight to be first choice and will have the pride to not be wanting to sit on the bench and play his ass off to get in there. If he has to play left back, and if he has to, he can pass the ball.
Yeah.
He's quite strong as well. He's got a good, strong upper body strength. He's not very good in the air, and that's the only weakness, I think, for everybody that is doubting him. But I think he's doing. I think he'll be a great signing for us. I really do. He'll be one that's under the radar in terms of underrated out of all the shiny names. But I think he excites me so much. Just one, because the opposition fans are so mental about he's going to be the difference maker for us, and they've already conceded the title because Marc Guéhi is bloody joining us. But not only that, I think just because it gives us strength, it's a massive upgrade to Kwanzaa, massive. And I know you're saying he's lower than the other two, but the gap between Kwanzaa and the other two was huge.
No, I get that.
This bridges the gap, and to have him as a more dependable option than Joe, Joe might be playing left back or right back, depending
This is
on
my
what
point.
happens and Simi.
But this is my point. The purchase of Guéhi gives us, as a combination, the best quartet of centre backs in Europe. Combined.
Wow.
It does. Someone tell me 4 centre backs of the quality that we'd have. Kwanzaa was always the not let down, but the weak point.
He was.
Guéhi adds to that. Guéhi adds to that consistency, the performance, experience, and that Danilo says, snap him up quickly. 40 million is great business. Great business. Let's not forget
5 million over what we got for Birmingham.
How much did Newcastle have refused in just only January? I think it was close to 70 million refused for him.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
will we get him though? Will we get him for 40? Do you think it'll happen?
I think it'll happen. Yes, I think he's be the next.
And that's the next one, right? You think
the next proper signing, not your.
Shut up. Okay, it's number 5. Number 5.
This will be our 4th signing of the summer.